Ash, what have you started?
I've recently started and have dragged friend of the pod, Nyrica and Jack into line dancing.
I feel right at home with the honky tonk crowd.
Best thing I have ever done. I love it so much. Admittedly, I have dropped off. I feel like this is I did like 4 weeks and then I've been busy. But I need to talk about how amazing line dancing is. You can pick it up in like 10 minutes. Anyone who is not coordinated can still do it. Listening to Shania Twain, always excellent. It has made me appreciate some kinds of country music. I am absolutely for, and most importantly, I'm all for joining a community hobby that brings people together, because at the end of the day, to me, community is the most important thing in the world. So if you haven't got a community, you got to go find a community, and this fulfills a really good need in my life, which is dancing and non-commitment.
Now, before the podcast, Ashley was telling us about their grand theory of the 6 pillars of friendship and how some friends might have multiple, might fulfill multiple of your friendship needs, and sometimes one need is fulfilled by a bunch of friends. Are you telling me that all 6 of your friendship needs are fulfilled by line dancing?
I think that a very good amount of my friendship needs are fulfilled by line dancing. I think, you know what, it brought a lot of my like North Star friends in, which is like your key person that you're like, you know, they're the one you're drawn to. Yeah. It definitely is my special interest right now, which is a very big part of my friendship theory. It has brought me new friends. I feel like it's brought me and Jack closer. Like we like line dancing together. So, you know, I'm for this, and I think it fulfills at least 2 needs.
Hey, that's a third.
2 out of 6 is that's pretty
That's
good.
more than most people.
Now, I might just add, I think that line dancing has done the opposite for me.
Have you done, wait, before you continue, have you done line dancing?
I haven't gone to a line dance.
Okay, no worries. You may now continue.
I think you'd love it.
Probably, however, I've got a bone to pick with line
I
dancing.
knew you would.
Because it's been fucking over my friendships, right? Because, as listeners may know, Reuben and I, we host a thing at our apartment every month where we watch the movie Death in Brunswick, which we've talked about before on the pod.
Episode 50.
Yeah, that one. And so that is, for whatever reason, the day that you and other of our friends, and more that you keep dragging into line dancing, it lines up with that, which means you rock up like fucking halfway through the movie. We have to delay our shit. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
We've pushed our event back by 30 minutes
you have
now.
to now do it very late because we come. I will say, right, we did move our line dancing to Brunswick so that we can go to Death in Brunswick. So we did meet you halfway. We used to do it in Footscray. But now we do it in Brunswick so you can make it in time. Look, I agree. Is it impacting my ability to go to Death in Brunswick? Yes. But is it making me rock up with absolute joy and euphoria from doing line dancing? Also, yes.
Do you get to miss the boring half of the movie? Yes.
100%. And look, like, I'm a regular Death in Brunswick visitor. I feel like I've missed 2 in like a year. So like, I know that movie, you know? I know that movie better than most people who go. And I make the parts where I have really good ad-libs that I know when to put in. So I think that really I'm winning it. The only thing I'm missing out on
I was going to say...
is, well, I don't know. I think it's going to be different to what you're going to say. Jett and Reuben's apartment, while amazing, is small. And if you do not get in early, you do not get prime seat position. So it is my one downfall. I feel really bad because sometimes we rock up really late and I do not say hello to anyone.
And
I beeline for the couch and I go, that is my spot before anybody sits down. And I'm like, all right, now we're ready to start.
I was going to say, sometimes you're just late enough that you miss the greatest sex scene ever filmed and your favourite movie scene.
My favourite movie scene of all time. Honestly, if anyone hasn't watched Death in Brunswick, you just have to watch it for the most amazing sex scene of all time. I think it is the most realistic depiction of sex I've ever seen on TV. I think that it is authentically Australian. I think that it really shows the awkwardness of what sex is, even when you think it's great, and then you watch it back and you go, oh God. And literally God, because there's a lot of depictions of God in it.
Now, Jett, I have a suggestion for you. The last Thursday of every month, I'm usually working, so I arrive late. These slackers are offline dancing, so they arrive late. Usually, the task of shopping and a little bit of vacuuming is put on you.
Yes.
So if you went to line dancing
You've really minimized the amount that I do and the amount that I fret and stress each month, but sure.
I described it accurately.
Uh-huh.
If you went to line dancing 1 month, the rest of us would be fucked. And we
Yes.
would realize how much you do, and we might redistribute some of the work. So if you ever want to like alleviate your own workload, just like have 1 month that you just sacrifice and you say it's going to be a crappy event this month because I'm going to go to line dancing. Ashley, don't interrupt. This is a secret plan to get Jett to go to line dancing. So I reckon you could do less work this way.
I have way too much pride for that. You think
Too
I've
much
ever
pride for line?
You think
to
I've
ruin the
ever
event.
hosted an event and allowed it to be shit? No. I was having a conversation with people from our high school, Reuben.
They still remember grad?
They still remember our graduation after party and saying that was the best party they've ever been to.
Oh, that's such a good compliment. I
Right?
also love to throw a good event. Do you know what it is? I think it's the ADHD
You do throw
of us.
yeah, no,
and
I think that's it.
that it's like it reminds me of my mum when I was a child, where it's like guests are coming, we now must leave. But like the month beforehand, our house was trashed and disgusting. But because guests are coming, you clean.
Yes.
So I also convince myself to invite people over once a month. Therefore, I must scrub every single part of the apartment before they get over there, right?
Yeah.
But I agree. I throw a great party. It has to be excellent. I want people to walk away and say that was the best party of the year, and not that was fine. And I sat down and had some nice chats.
No, God, no.
You just described my ideal party and then we're like, God, no.
Absolutely not. You can have some good chats, but I want you to leave being like, that was the best party I've ever been to.
Yeah. You have to bring that experience. I want everyone to walk in and feel like they're in a different realm, like a different world. Just like, I don't know.
Even if it means ripping the lights out of their sockets.
Even if it means accidentally getting battery acid on me and like it was bad.
You didn't hear that one.
Halloween. You were here for that.
I was here for it, but I don't remember the battery acid.
No,
it was before you got here.
That was when I
On
was ripping
account
the
of
lights out of the walls.
Jack
That
cleaning.
was a very good party, though, I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah. You and I, we should throw more joint parties.
We should throw some joint parties.
I think we would
You
do
should
really
throw
good
some
ones.
joint parties at Ashley's house. Yes. I'm also a fan of this plan.
Yes, and then you can sleep over and help us clean the next morning.
But I could go home because I wasn't involved in the organizing committee. Yeah.
What is line dancing?
Oh, okay. So, line dancing, I've got to admit, I'm not
Love
an
that we're
expert.
getting to this at the 40-minute
I'm
mark
a
or whatever.
novice line dancer. Basically, it is a repetitive dance that often goes in a square motion, or they call them quarters. So, because you like turn every quarter to a different way. And it mostly involves like feet, right? Like it's a lot of stepping and it's a lot of like boot scuffing. And there's specific line dancing moves that we didn't know about. Like there's ones that they'll be like, now we're going to do a K-step. And we had to be like, what the hell is a K-step, right? But overall, I think that line dancing can be easy, or it actually can be really complicated.
Really hard.
But it's really fun because once you get in the rhythm and you know it, everyone joins in. And I think like, okay, now I'm going to nerd out a little bit. So
Here we go.
Community, really important concept that I love. But in community, a big part of it.
The concept
Just
of
the
community.
concept of
I think it's
community.
really important, actually.
The other
Hot
day,
take,
I met
Ash.
this person who asked me what is my like special interest, which I was like, well, I'm not autistic, so that doesn't make sense. But what is something that I am passionate about?
Nobody who's ever not autistic can
But
have a
like-
special
have a hobby.
interest.
No, hobby, yes, but like specifically a special interest is it's like
Reserved for
an
the
autistic,
people with
like
autism.
what's the, I say quote, term.
Yeah.
Anyway. What is the thing that I'm obsessed with? Community. I'll talk about it every day. The other day, for those who don't know, I have ADHD. So this is my 7th tangent in this thing
It's also
about
the
line
second
dancing.
time you've mentioned that.
You're going to know it. You're going to know it by the end.
All people I've ever met with ADHD.
So
They must let you
the
know.
other day I watched Red Dog, not a big animal fan, and I like bawled the whole way through
I hated
it.
that
And my
movie.
partner Eli was like, I don't understand why you would like this movie. It's about a dog. You don't really like dogs. And I said, it's not about a dog. It is about community.
Oh my
they were
God.
like, that's exactly what their reaction
I
was.
bet you like fucking paper planes.
Oh, was that
get
one
a
about
kick
the
out of-
boy who
with
throws the planes?
Yes,
I have
that
not.
was
it was the one about the boy who throws the paper planes.
I have not seen that movie, but that boy's in Bibbidi Blues. Anyway, line dancing. So shared experience is a really
Did
important
Baz
part.
Luhrmann direct Red Dog?
No. Oh,
Who directed that? Because I know it was someone
probably
goofy.
someone we don't
Nobody Google it. We figure it out with our
Yeah,
minds.
go internet. Ask your dad.
How's my dad? Okay, so part of community, big part of community is shared experiences, right? And I think something that's really key about line dancing is that it doesn't take too long to pick it up. And I think a lot of people who don't dance get really stressed about the fact that like they're trying to learn a routine, it's not sticking in their brain, and they get overwhelmed. And as a choreographer, I see it a lot. It makes me very sad for the people because I'm like, it's okay to fuck up. No one cares. Sorry, we allowed to swear on this podcast.
Oh my God. Did you not have me all episode? I put one in the first minute so that you would know because I forgot to mention it. So after the intro, I was like, I got to make sure Ash knows we can swear. And I've done like 17.
That's so, I feel like my teacher brain was on. I was like, oh no, I swore in the context. I'm not allowed to.
I feel like your Jett and Reuben outbrain was on, but I will try not to take it personally. You heard me, right?
I feel like swearing goes over my head now. I'm like, yeah, we all just say this naturally.
From being in a classroom?
I've got to say, the context that I teach in, swearing, fine. Today I taught social norms. And I said, for example, if I said, fuck you, you would say, that's out of context for my teacher to say, and they all laughed, and I think that I'm a comedian. Anyway,
fucking lampshaded it.
Shared experience, really important part of community, and because line dancing is so easy to pick up, and because it's repetitive, you feel like you're part of community. Like having 40 people in a room do the same routine within like 10 minutes, you just go like, and I can understand in America why, like, when you go to these kinds of bars where line dancing is common, they have a song, everyone joins in, and if you don't know it, you can kind of watch it and pick it up within like 10 seconds of the dance. And I think it is a really great way to like bring people together and have this shared experience. Anyway, that's my tangent about community.
But enough about the 6th season Dan Harmon Community College sitcom.
Exactly.
What about the idea of people coming together around a shared idea?
That was so dumb.
I'm really
I've been sitting on that for like 5 minutes, and I'm proud of it. Just turn your Jett and Reuben out brains on again. Right? Go back to what you were doing. Listeners heard it.
What I'm picturing is, what's that fucking song that everyone in Australia that knows how to...
I am. You
no, not
are,
that one.
We are.
The one that everyone dances. No, not that one.
One Maca, two Maca, three Macarena.
Yeah,
for fuck's
what I'm
sake.
thinking of is just the nut bush. Is it just the nut bush?
It's like that is a line dance.
Yeah, okay,
Nut
great.
is a line dance.
Because what I originally thought line dancing was similar to like what fucking like bush dancing, which is more like you get in like 2 lines and you do archways and you link arms and you spin around each other.
That's so funny. I thought bush dancing was going to be some like bush stuff thing. I was like muzzing? Like, what are you talking about?
What is this one? I've never heard it. Don't worry about it. It's a form of folk dancing, I would say, as a dance nerd, which it's not folk, genre.
I forgot that we had professional dancer Reuben.
It's fine.
Professional dancer Reuben?
It's fine. Professional dancer Reuben. Sorry, I'll put on my professional dancer Reuben. Right. Now you can tune me out even more because I'm just going to talk nonsense for 5 minutes. No,
Love
yes.
dance talk.
Nut bush. Perfect example.
Yeah, perfect.
Macarena, even, if you did it with your feet.
Yeah, I would say it's hard because I guess though you do go in quarters, so technically it's a line dance, but it is more arm based. Yeah. I would be like, you're pushing it. Yeah. Nut bush definitely a line dance. That's exactly what it is. I would say that like when you go line dancing though, like the nut bush is fun, but don't you find like after the 10th time you're like, I'm done this.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't want to do it anymore. I would say that a lot of these line dances are fun enough that you're like, yes, I want to keep going. Because there's like often like spins or like whacking your knees and you're like, hell yes, you know, like, or a big like, you know, shove forward, skunt forward. That was the word I'm looking for. Shunt forward. I was like, what?
A big skunt comes in.
I can find it. A skunt forward.
The most fun I've ever had line dancing.
You're skunt? Sorry, am I allowed to swear on this podcast? Is that okay?
You're pushing it, but yes. The most fun I've ever had line dancing was at the Fringe Hub in the friggin' Trades Hall as part of Melbourne Fringe Festival. Yep. And there was like a Deep Soulful Sweats ran it. They're like a group of great, crazy contemporary dancers. And so they taught us line dances. But they also had someone who came out with a whip in between every dance whip, just for fun. That bit was just for fun. That wasn't even the thing I'm trying to talk about. Every dance, they would teach it to us. So we had 3 or 4 over the course of the night. And so we would learn it, do it, learn the next one, do it, learn the next one, do it. And then whip guy would come in. And then we would come in again and do the first one faster to the same song. So by the end, we were line dancing our absolute asses off to like Toxic by Britney Spears at 3 times speed. So she was like, damn it, clap, and we're like, it was insane.
That
no one
is
could do it.
Yeah.
That was a fun version of line dancing.
Do you know what I feel like you and I very like dance differently, right?
Very much.
Very much, which is perfectly fine.
In fact,
Dance
all three of us do.
All three of us dance
Yeah.
very differently.
Well, except for that one time for a few months that Ash made me dance exactly the same as them. It was fucked.
Are you meaning when you were in the musical I choreographed?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how choreography works.
Yeah.
But
I would say not always. Anyway.
I really love talking about dance with you because you and I have very
Yeah.
drastically different upbringings in dance.
Totally.
Which I think, like, you have very much opened my mind up in a different way to dance, which I love.
Whereas I closed Jet's mind.
You
Every time
closed
I take
Jet's
to a
mind.
show, they're like, the fuck is this?
No, I love it. I think, like, you have very much taught me, because I love, like, movement theater, right? And
Yeah.
I would say, like, what I thought dance was in movement theater, drastically different. And you have merged them in my
What
mind.
if it's a spectrum?
It is a
What
spectrum.
if it's all the same shit?
Exactly. So yeah, very
Everything
different
is
dance
dancing.
programs. Everything is dancing, and I've opened up my mind a lot since knowing you. However,
Wow, that's nice.
it is. It's very nice. I think
Here
you've
comes
changed
the
my.
butt.
However, line dancing. So occasionally the like steps will equal up to like 7 counts, even though the song is in 4/4.
Who's teaching you line dancing?
It just like it happens. Sometimes it's weird. I remember there was one
Wow.
recently, and Jack was there too, and we both were like
Dying
shaking. It was like
inside.
I wanted to vomit. I was like, it sounds like it feels like someone doing like on a chalkboard. But I was like, I thought you were going to say to me like,
Oh,
no,
that's nice.
you know what? It's like an interpretive thing.
Normally I would say that, but I feel like the things that define styles are their stylistic preferences, rhythmic preferences, aesthetic preferences, the way they're constructed, and their relationship to audience, I guess. That was just off the top of my head. But I think that a quintessential part of line dancing is an even rhythmic structure.
I would
It finishes
agree.
on a 4 or an 8. So that's wild to me.
Yeah.
Conceptually I like it, but if I was in a line dancing class or jam and that happened, I'd be like, what?
I do say there's ones that end on the 6, which I actually think are not terrible because it catches up eventually.
Because you loop around,
so
then you're on a
it's
4,
fine.
then a 2, then
But
back
when
on the
it
8.
was weird, when it's like a 7 or like a 3, I'm
prime
like,
numbers.
what are we
Oh.
doing? This is awful. This
That's
does not
wild.
work.
I gotta
Still
come to
loop
this line
around
dancing.
it eventually.
I get,
I
like
guess.
I'd have to math that. That would be
But then you're
a
doing
while.
like, if you start on the right foot, then you're starting with the right foot on an odd numbered beat. Like
Yes.
right foot on a 3,
It's
on a 4
so
or an 8,
difficult.
that's cooked.
I actually think like for people who are not dancers, they didn't think, because I think I think people who don't grow up dancers don't think about how the music and the dance like interact with one another. They just like, this is the steps, I do the steps, right? Whereas I think as a dancer, like they're just like, they're not separable in like that kind of context. And so it actually was so hard. And I noticed that me and Jack mucked up way
Had
more
difficulty
than the
than
other
people
group
who were just
because
thinking about his left, right, outside, out.
exactly, we just could not do it.
Who should do line dancing? You alluded to this earlier, but like, well, you said people should find any community hobby.
Ash has
Like,
done the classic stinishedit thing of
Don't do this, do a similar thing.
just using an example of a larger
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
act
that.
that you can try. Yeah.
Here's what I did. You should try a life that fulfills you. Anyway, next topic. Like that.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. I think it's more about like finding local community. I think something that we're going to get deep, right?
Okay.
So I moved from the east or the southeast to the very much west like 2 years ago. And I still drive to the southeast almost every week for my hobbies, which was killing me. Like I was like doing the 2-hour drive or the 1.5-hour drive there and then another one back to do the thing I loved was like, is this love giving me enough fulfillment for the horrific drive that I have to do there? And so one of those things is I actually stopped dancing like this like mid of the year, and I kept saying I'll go maybe once a term, and then I just never went back, which is really awful. And I went to recently like a dance breakup with all those people, and I was like, I miss this.
Yeah.
But I think like finding something that's local, even like people who talk about going to the gym, right? Like if you can go around the corner, it's just like the livability is so much nicer. It feels accessible. It feels like something you're like, oh, I'm making friends and I'm feeling fulfilled in my life. But I do think, look, you said who would do line dancing. I think that if like you are someone who likes dance, it's a really good way not to think. Like you can just sort of do it and it's like not too difficult. If you are someone who feels like they're not very good at dancing. The environment's so encouraging that it actually doesn't matter if you muck up. Like, people just love that you're there and just want to have fun with you. And I actually think it's really, sorry, I'm coughing and burping. I think that it is.
Oh, yeah, you do play it off like that. We can see that you're sobbing.
I'm sorry. I think it's been really cool to see a lot of men join it. I think when I was going, I was ready to see a lot more women there. And watching, like, and clearly, like, look, not to stereotype people, but clearly, like, people's boyfriends. they're like, yes, I've brought my boyfriend along, and they want to be there. It's not like, oh, my girlfriend dragged me to this thing, right? Yeah. They're like, I'm so excited to be here. And I think that it was very lovely to see boys in dance. And I think more boys need to dance and learn movement and rhythm and beats. It's just, it's good for your brain, you know?
Yeah. Totally. Until they make you do 4 movements.
Oh, until you finish on a 7, then they can finish on the 7.
Then it was just...
They can go back to Fight Club if they make you finish on a 7.
Incredible.